Hi everyone, I want to talk about Mualani and Kinich. I've had these characters since their release, and you may be asking yourself, who was better to pull for Mualani or Kinich? Or is it better to just skip them both entirely to save up for future characters? But I'm here to answer that. So let's start off with Mualani. In terms of exploration, this character is fantastic. She rides the shark, and as long as you have her skill meter or the phlogiston bar still up and running, you can keep on going, which is really nice. Outside of Netland, she gets off pretty quick, but it's still pretty good distance. And Kinich has a grappling hook. You can use it twice in Netland, once off the ground and then again in midair. When you hit a wall, he also climbs a bit upwards. Outside of Netland, you only have one grappling hook. You can't do it twice. But overall, the amount of mobility on both of these characters is really nice to have, and it's very comfortable. Now for their teams and their combat strength, these two characters are phenomenal. Mualani has some bugs though right now, which mainly is her tracking on her elemental skill. When you try to get all 3 stacks and try to hit an enemy, she'll go into this locked animation that is a bit long and is locked on the direction she's facing to do it. The enemy can get out of the way and you'll go right past him on his original spot and completely whiff and waste a lot of time and possibly her meter running out, losing a lot of DPS and your entire rotation on Mualani. While that is the main problem right now, characters like Mualani had bugs like this before, where they just completely whiff, but they've been fixed previously. I don't see why they wouldn't do it for Mualani. For her teams, right now the best team comp would be Mualani, Mona, Dea and Emily. The replacement for Dea, there isn't any realistically. If you want someone that does the exact same job as Dea, the only thing you can do is 330% energy recharge with Changling. Good luck with that. I've tried Changling a lot. If you want to use Bennett and Changling and remove Day and Emily, you can. I still wouldn't recommend it. Bennett is only there for Changling. He's not even there for any purpose, but it does work. The only problem with Changling is just she needs too much energy recharge and she's usually tied to Bennett. Her energy is needed from Bennett, but the best solution right now is Dea. We just had a free 5-star selector. Pyro Archon will most likely either be replacing Mona or Dea, but we still don't know until she comes out, and we still don't know on future characters that could possibly help Mualani make her team more comfy. Because right now she's losing a lot of percentage damage she doesn't have in her kit, and that's why we're using Mona on her best team right now. Furina you can't really use with her, even though you need Furina's buff right now. There isn't a team where you can actually use it efficiently. I've tried using Furina for a while. There is a team you can use. It's very hard to play, and in comparison to her best team, it's just not worth it. It's either you're using Mualani, Mona, Dea and Emily, or you're using Bennett Changling. Her best teams are gonna be Vape regardless because of her high damage. But when you are using her best team, oh boy, she melts everything. She's so strong. It's incredible. As for Kinich teams, right now Kinich, Bennett, Dea, Emily is a very comfortable team. As you're noticing, maybe I've said Dea and Emily again for Kinich, as I did for Mualani. The problem right now is the replacement for Emily is Nahida, which is possible for Mualani because the EM buff can benefit Mualani, but for Kinich that does nothing. So Nahida is just there for absolutely nothing. In my opinion, if you're using both Mualani and Kinich, for Mualani you should be using Nahida, and for Kinich you use Emily. If you don't have Emily but only have Nahida, you can actually use another Kinich team. This is not his only team. Kinich, Furina, Sijuin, and Dea is a team you can use that Mualani can't, and you can use Bennett, Shangling, Nahida with Mualani. You can also run Kinich with Furina, Sijuin, and Raiden. Hyper Bloom Kinich isn't abysmal, it's actually pretty good, he's a good driver. And then you can use Dea, Emily, and Mona with Mualani and have her best team while you're still doing really good damage on Kinich. So these are teams you can use for both of these characters if you're using them on the Abyss on both sides. There is some more free-to-play suggestions like Xingqiu Bennett Shangling that is actually viable with Kinich. It is not the best by any means, but it's usable and it clears. You can also use Toma for Kinich, it's actually quite nice. But overall, their teams are kind of limited right now, and these are the cons of the characters. When they get more characters that work with them, that give them percentage damage, since that's what they're missing the most at the current moment. For artifact sets, right now the burning set is the best for damage, but overall their new set that gives them 40% crit chance will become better later on when we get better buffers for them. The only reason the burning set is slightly better at the moment is because of the percentage damage we are missing, but when we get that, you can go with the crit set. So let's go over the cons of the characters again. Mualani is missing percentage damage and is limited to vape. She doesn't really have a full team roster right now. Once her tracking is fixed and have a pyro character that can buff her percentage damage. We also need a healer for her. A pyro character that heals and applies pyro consistently would be nice, but we don't know if that's gonna happen with the pyro archon. It's a possibility, or maybe we'll get someone else in the future and the pyro archon will fit into her slot for pyro application only and damage, but we'll just have to wait and see. For Kinich, his main issues will be that he doesn't have a full team either, and his damage is a bit lower right now. He's missing more damage than Mualani. He needs crit damage and percentage damage. If we get an electro percentage damage buffer, Hyper Bloom Kinich wouldn't be that bad. Fit him with Furina, Sijuin, and that electro character, it will be amazing. Or we get a pyro character that does that instead, and then you can run that pyro character, Emily, and you can throw in any other character. Especially if the pyro character ends up healing, you can even throw in Furina on that team and get some burn vapes. But until this stuff happens, these characters are a bit more restricted at the moment. But even though they're restricted, they are really good. I don't think it's a waste to roll for these characters. Mualani and Kinich are both really strong. If you want to know who's better at the moment, it's Mualani. She has higher damage numbers for now, especially because she can use Mona, and Kinich can't really use Furina and Mona on the same team right now, because you can't get burns or burgeons as fast as you need right now. But they're both not a waste. Just because Mualani is stronger than Kinich doesn't mean Kinich should be skipped. If you want to skip both, they are not needed whatsoever. You can skip both of these characters and do well without them, even on their own Abyss. I've run the Abyss without them and both with them on different teams. It works just fine. You can 36 star regardless if you have enough characters to do so. Just don't use Dendra on the first side and don't use Hydra on the second side. If you're using Hydra on the second side like Furina, make sure you have a strong character like Arlecchino to get through the Hydro enemy on the second side. If you rolled for both of them, you're gonna have a lot of fun. There's a team that you can use in Natlan: Mualani, Kinich, Dea, and Shan Yun. I use this team. Shan Yun is just there for healing. You can use Bennett if you want, if you don't have Shan Yun. But this team is so fun. You can zoom in Natlan everywhere while fighting the enemies in Natlan. You can switch your rotation between Mualani and Kinich consistently while they are still out there on the field. It's so nice. It's so much fun to play these two characters. I just set up Dea and go ham with Mualani, and just in the middle of her rotation I switch to kinich, and then I'm just locked on them, grappling and just shooting them. It's so fun. And even just to run around Netland, Mualani speed with kinich's grappling hook, you go so fast. You can even use Shanyu's skill, and while it's on cooldown switch to the others. This is probably my new overworld team for the time being until more characters come out and I can have some more fun with newer characters. But if you didn't skip them, it's fine. You have a wonderful team to go through Natlan with. If you skip both of them, you can just save for the newer characters that are coming. There will most likely be characters that won't even work with them and need their own teams that can use their characters, and they have to share characters anyway. But overall, Mualani is like an 8 out of 10 for me. She's so good and super fun. And kinich would be 7 out of 10, just because of that slight damage difference between the two, even though kinich is more fun for me. I hope this helped you understand these characters a bit on what to do with them. If you need anything, you can ask any questions. I will help answer to the best of my abilities always, and I'll see you guys next time.